Hi all, this is Dr. Nandini from Department of Periodontics and Preventive Dentistry. Today I am going to talk about mouth breathing habit. Oral habits are learned patterns of muscle contraction and have a very complex nature. They are associated with anger, hunger, sleep, tooth eruption and fear. Some children even display oral habits for the release of mental tension. These habits can result in damage to the dentoalveolar structure. Hence, dentists play a very crucial role in giving necessary information to the parents. Some of the common oral habits are mouth breathing, tongue thrusting, nail biting, thumb sucking, bruxism, lip biting, followed by other oral habits like the pencil chewing, bobby pin opening, etc. And these are the pictures that are depicted for each of the oral habits that is faced among the pediatric patients. This is the definition for oral habits that are learned patterns of muscular contraction given by Matthewson in the year 1980. In specific, today I am going to talk about the mouth breathing habit. It can be defined as habitual respiration through the mouth instead of the nose, given by Sassoni in the year 1971. According to Sim and Fem, it's classified as obstructive, habitual and anatomic. In obstructive, there is complete or partial obstruction of the nasal passage due to deviated nasal septum, nasal polyps, chronic inflammation of the mucosa, localized benign tumors, allergic rhinitis and obstructive adenoids. In habitual kind, these children continuously breathe through the mouth by force of the habit, although the abnormal obstruction has been removed. In anatomical, the children have short upper lips which does not permit closure without the undue effort. One must distinguish this type from the child who breathes through the nose but keeps his lips apart because of the short upper lip type. Effects on the extraoral structures. There are two types, that is adenoid physis and external nares. Adenoid physis is a term that is used to describe a particular type of facial configuration frequently associated with the mouth breathing habit. Such patients have a long and narrow face, nose passages, flaccid and short upper lip, nose that is tipped superiorly, expressionless face, narrow maxillary arch, labial flaring of the maxillary incisors, mouth breathing, gingivitis, anterior open bite, increase caries incidence, especially in the maxillary anterior teeth. On the intraoral structures, there is always proclination and spacing in the maxillary anterior teeth. The lower lip is heavy and everted. The tongue is suspended between the upper and lower arches, resulting in constriction of the buccal segment. Also, there is always a posterior crossbite in mouth breathing cases. The upper maxillary arch is V-shaped maxilla and a high palatal vault. Apart from that, the patient also comes with a complaint of crowding, anterior open bite and gingivitis. Effects on periodontal tissues and dental caries, where the gingiva is at right and causes irritation. Along with gingiva, the tongue, palate also become dry. There is hypertrophic gingivitis due to stagnation of debris and microflora in the maxillary anteriors. These teeth are often affected by dental caries. For the diagnosis, the parents, to get a clear history, should be instructed to observe the child when the child is asleep at night for 3 to 4 consecutive days. There are certain clinical tests to determine the mode of respiration, and the first thing is the mirror test, where a two-surfaced mirror is held between the nose and mouth at the philtrum. When there is fogging on the nasal side of the mirror, it indicates nasal breathing, and fogging on the oral side denotes mouth breathers. In Masler's butterfly test, the patient is asked to close his eyes and a piece of cotton is spread in the form of a butterfly on the upper lip that is placed in front of the nostrils. no movement of cotton takes place if the patient is a mouth breather, whereas the cotton moves on one side, that indicates the unilateral nasal blockage. In water holding test, the patient is asked to fill his mouth with water and hold for 1 minute without swallowing. For the paper test, ask the patient to hold the piece of paper between his lips. A mouth breather cannot retain for both the water and paper test for a longer time period. The treatment for mouth breathing should be aimed at elimination of the cause and interception of the habit. In elimination of the cause, if there are any nasal or pharyngeal obstruction has been diagnosed, removal of the nasal or pharyngeal obstruction by surgery or local medication should be sought out. If respiratory allergy is present, this should be brought under control. In interception of the habit is done if the habit continues even after the removal of the obstruction, then it has to be corrected. This is for the breathing exercises, wherein the deep breathing exercises in the deep inhalation through the nose with arms raised sideways. After a short period, the arms are dropped to the sides and the air is exhaled through the mouth. For the lip exercise, the child is instructed to extend the upper lip as far as possible to cover the vermilion border under and behind the maxillary incisors. This is done 15 to 30 minutes per day for a period of 4 to 5 months where the child has a short upper lip. An oral screen is indicated only when the airway is open as a kind of appliance therapy. This is a double oral screen and this is indicated in patients with tongue thrust along with an additional screen that is placed on the lingual aspect of the teeth. And this is a vestibular screen which takes the form of a curved shield of acrylic plate that is placed on the labial vestibule. It works on the principle of both force application and force elimination. The vestibular screen does not contact the teeth as compared to the oral screen. This is cross modification of vestibular screen and the other modification wherein wire components are attached instead of acrylic plates to reduce the bulk and allow expansion whenever required. This is a tug of war exercise. This involves two buttons with one placed with the lips while the other button is held by the other person to pull the thread out. This is repeated 25 times per day. Apart from this, we even have pre-orthodontic trainers to correct the habit and also to intercept with the malocclusion process. Depending on the child's age, severity of the problem and economics, the dentist may continue the present orthodontic treatment or the interceptive orthodontic treatment or the fixed orthodontic treatment. Hereby, I would like to conclude saying that having an oral habit is not a tragic situation but needs to be stopped at the appropriate time with an appropriate method to get a long-term result. A dentist can provide the patient and the parent or the guardian with sufficient information regarding the consequences to stop the habit. Thus, being a famous designer is like being a famous dentist. These are my references and thank you all for the wonderful opportunity.